Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's great that you have stopped by again for a visit, and today we're going to look at something that I paid a bounty for, so to speak. That being the other deluxe figure in Wave 2 of the Transformers Studio Series line, the bounty hunter himself, Lockdown, and he's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It makes all the difference in the world. It helps me out tremendously. Check me out everywhere. Have a look at Machinery of Man and the Everything Factor and Transformers Collectors NL. And this is Studio Series Lockdown. Now, I had the original, and granted he was flawed. And I even done a custom a little while ago using the Last Night Hot Rod, and I think that's better. And I had said to myself, I don't think I'll get the Studio Series Lockdown. I don't think I'll get him. But he looks so fantastic. In the box, he looked great on the shelf. I really kind of couldn't resist. Now, that's not to say that this guy is perfect. Is he an improvement? That's probably arguable. It depends on kind of how you define improvement. Nevertheless, I'm kind of glad to add him to my personal collection for a bunch of reasons. That doesn't mean I'm totally happy with him. But you know what, let's get into all the details of this guy now. Let's head over to the table and take a closer look at him. And now, it is Lockdown's turn to shine as we look at Studio Series number 11. Of course, he is a deluxe, that's part of Wave 2. There's a lot of black on this guy, but there's also a lot of detailing. We're going to start out, as we always do here, and take a look at the box first. And there you go, with the front and the Takara Tomy logo and the Hasbro logo and the art of Lockdown. A nice close-up over here of his menacing face. Oh, a lot of glare too. And on this side we have more of a body image for Lockdown of his artwork, and of course we have the artwork on the back, which it looks nice. I mean, it's fine. Not much in terms of a description though. And he comes with this, I don't know, blade blaster accessory thing. There's a handle back here that I'm holding on to, and you can of course put that in his hand so he can use it like a sword, I suppose. He also has this little rectangular tab here that allows it to go tabbed into his door in both vehicle mode and robot mode. Not much color, but it's molded very nicely. We also have his iconic hook, and it is articulated at one hinge right there. That's it. It probably could have been done a little bit better. It stores in his hand via this peg, or again in the door via this little rectangular peg up here. It's very accurate to what it looked like in the film, even though he didn't use it very much in the film, if you even remember him having it at all. But he did, I promise. And we have this backdrop again for display purposes. I like this one because I actually recognize what it is. It's that night ship, it's Lockdown ship, so I totally, absolutely dig that that's the backdrop and that it's like an actual recognizable scene. I know all of these are if you're, you know, enough of a movie buff to recognize them, but a lot of them just look very generic to me. Not this one. And of course you can take Lockdown and have him, I don't know, standing in front of his ship, sauntering out of his ship, whatever. It's a nice feature if you have the room. I've said that a million times already. And of course here we have Lockdown in all of his glory. He looks pretty phenomenal, I think. I absolutely dig the look of him. Not perfect, but really good. The detailing is there. He's missing a few paint apps, like I feel like a couple of green highlights on his chest, maybe a couple of either red or gold highlights down on the inside of his knee, maybe. Maybe a silver highlight here or there, but it's still quite strong in terms of his accessories. As I stated, there's a little rectangular slit in the door. You can put his hook in there. I wouldn't, because his hook is just facing forward then. I put it in his hand, and the other like bladed thing, you can put that in there. And I'm gonna say this, even if you use the pegs on the side of the door. Like, it's really solid. They stay in there well. He holds the hook in his hand really well. And he even, if you don't want to put that there, though I do, he does hold the other thing like a melee sword really well. Absolutely impressed by it. It would have been nice if he was Voyager size, but I kind of get that might look a little ridiculous since his alt mode would be way out of scale. Way out of scale, I think. Yeah, you know, it's that licensed Lamborghini, and I don't think it would look right in vehicle mode, even if the robot mode did look right. So, yeah, so there you go. In terms of his paint apps and his detailing and whatnot, what do I score the guy? He looks fantastic. He really does. He embodies the character tremendously well. He embodies the character way better than the original Lockdown mold did in any of its versions. Whether we're talking about the North American release, the Japanese release, or Movie the Best. It embodies it better than the KO Voyager size version of that mold. But the only thing better than this for representation of movie Lockdown would be that third-party Masterpiece inspired release from, I think it was DX9. But at the same time, he's not perfect because he is missing some paint apps, and not many. And he arguably is a little bit too small. We'll see that shortly. He can't do his whole gun face thing, and he can't have his battle mask down, so he has that like green blob on the front of his face. 8, we'll say an 8. We'll say an 8 because there are things that could have been improved on, but honestly, when you see him in hand, I would be hard pressed for anybody to say that it doesn't look like Lockdown as much as possible. The subjective me says 9.75, it's almost perfect, but the objective me realizes the limitations that are there, so we're going to say 8. What about his articulation? Well, we'll get into that in a second. I want to do a couple of comparisons here first, so I'll back things up so that we have the room. And here we have Lockdown next to Studio Series Stinger, who is a very small deluxe, as we all know, so he looks kind of big there. I looked at Stinger in full in episode 390. Here he is next to something more recognizable, I think, that being the Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Ripper Snapper. And I looked at him and the custom work I did on him in episode 395, but you can see that, you know, based right there, you would think that Lockdown is a little bit of a tall deluxe, maybe. Slightly tall deluxe. Or if you include this piece, I mean, he's, you know, average deluxe. So taking him out of it. And here he is with another Wave 2 figure, this being the Voyager Class Studio Series Megatron. Interesting figure. Interesting. We'll look at him soon. Here he is with the Last Night Optimus Prime, and that's kind of probably where some of the disappointment comes into play here. Now, I looked at Optimus in full in episode 272. Everybody kind of went crazy for this Voyager figure. I didn't think it was that great. I don't like the leg limitation, but I've harped on that before. Lockdown is definitely too small here. No doubt about it. So taking him out of it, and just for one more comparison that is of interest, I want to show him next to this guy. This is my custom Transformers The Last Night Lockdown that I looked at in episode 335. Actually, I kind of looked at the Hot Rod version because this is the Hot Rod body with the Lockdown head, and he's definitely more slender than the new Studio Series 1. Definitely not quite as detailed. I'm going to focus on this a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to focus on their heads for a moment so you can see the difference in the head sculpts from the original head sculpt to the Studio Series head sculpt, which is vastly superior. There you can see both of the head sculpts. This one over here, I did paint black. Now, I didn't mind it. I thought that it actually embodied Lockdown pretty decently, even though the eyes are awfully dark. That being said, when you actually see him next to the Studio Series one, the Studio Series one is just so vastly superior. So vastly superior. I said when I did the custom that I didn't think I was going to get the Studio Series Lockdown. I didn't think I needed it. I thought I had a pretty great representation of Lockdown as it was, all things considered. That being said, when I saw Lockdown, on the shelf, man, I just couldn't pass him up because he looks so spot on. So spot on. Alright, so I know that was a lot of comparisons, but I thought that they were all very appropriate to what we were trying to accomplish here, which was show how he fits in scale-wise with a lot of other figures. And kind of show why, as spectacular as he looks, why he still only kind of gets an 8. What about his articulation? Well, we can take off his accessories for this. The articulation could be better. Could be better. The head is on a ball joint that does go left and right. It catches up, however, on the neck junk a lot. It can look up a nice bit, down a little bit. The arms, they can go all the way around, really. I think they can go all the way around. Maybe not. Maybe they can't go quite all the way around because of the backpack junk. We have shoulders that only go out that far. I really wish that this very upper shoulder piece could move a little bit so that we could get the shoulders out just a bit further. I think that's a bit of a limitation. We have a bicep swivel that is pretty tight. We have these pieces on the side of his arm. They can move. That's for transformation, but hey, you can do it. We have 90 degrees at the elbow, and despite having a bicep swivel, that's on a ball joint, so he can get across his body anyway, even if you don't move the bicep swivel. Sometimes when you try to move the the elbow, you'll find the bicep moves with it, which you would think is jarring, but it's actually not bad. He has a waist. Now, it only moves so far because of the backpack, but he does have a waist. He has legs that go out that far. He has legs that go back that far because of the backpack junk, really. I think it's, maybe it's not because of the backpack junk. Maybe it's just because of the molding. He has a thigh swivel. He has 90 degrees at the knee. And the toes can kind of go forward a little bit if that helps you at all. He stands all right. I don't have a problem with him, with his standing ability. The backpack, it's up to you if you think that it's a pain and egregious. I don't find it too bad. I think it certainly compacts better than other versions we've had of Lockdown. At least it's all kind of up on his back. I really don't mind that. Here's the thing. Compared to the other version of the mold, you don't have the scenario where if you move one leg forward, they both move forward because they're kind of on the same axis, so to speak. Everything moves nicely on him. It's just I wish some of it moved a bit better. I can't really say everything moves nicely on him. Everything from the waist down moves nicely on him. The thighs and the knees and all that moves great. The elbows, they move great. Even the bicep swivel is all right, it's just tight. The shoulders do not move that great. I would say in terms of their limitations, it's very similar to Classics Sunstreaker, Sideswipe, and Red Alert, where they really don't move out as far as you'd like them to. And the head, I don't think moves great at all, at least not on my copy. Does not move impressive at all. So, in terms of articulation, what am I going to give it? about a 7. About a 7, that's the best I can give it because I do not like those limitations. About a 7. He was, you know, getting an 8 and a 7. He's about a 7.5. What about his transformation? Is that going to help things or not? I wish I could say that I felt like it was going to help things, but I kind of don't. There are things that are great with it. It's not as elegant as I would like, and you'll see as we go through. So, we're going to begin by really kind of straightening out his arm, folding that piece around, and we'll fold the entire arm around. Like I said, that's kind of tight, and then we'll fold the forearm around. We have all of this here on the side. I'm not even going to bother to tab it in at the moment. We do, of course, the same thing over here. Fold that back. Twist the arm all the way around. Fold this around. We will just leave all of that there like that for now. The feet, as we've seen on many lockdown figures, they fold up. The thighs fold in to face each other. And then these pieces come out to connect to be the back of the vehicle. Which, again, if you don't have the legs like kind of perfect, you're going to get something that looks like that. I think that sort of like jazz, this is a case of you really want everything to be perfect for it all to fit nicely. Okay. There's the kind of rear end of the vehicle done. Great. The whole backpack section here. We can lift that off and lift this out. And we have it, you know, as kind of far off the body now as we can. We reach underneath, and this is where the hood is. Now, there's a hinge up by the windshield, and then there's a hinge down by the hood. In order to get this out, without really stressing anything, you're really going to want to bend at that hinge down by the hood. Bring it out, and then straighten it out. Take the head and fold it all the way back in. And then you can bring the front of the vehicle kind of down, sort of down. We come to the back and we flip out that little piece and we flip out that little piece. And then we can hinge this down. It goes in elegantly behind the roof and on the side here and tabs in nicely on the back. And tabs in all right there on the sides, though we're not going to worry about that too much for now. But this is what we have so far, and so far it's pretty good. Now we have to deal with what is the real pain and nuisance of this guy. Both going into vehicle mode and going from vehicle mode to robot mode, and that is the arms. You have on the bumper a little kind of gray tab on either side, and they go kind of hooked in underneath right there, and then this whole piece should slot in here easily. Then you need to bring up the arm. I guess I'll tab the arm in there now. The arm tabs in not the best on the side here. There's a very, I'll show it on this side. There's a very little tab up here that goes into a spot like on the top of the wheel well. It's tight and kind of not fun to do. Now, as you get these arms in, you need to slot this whole piece up next to this piece, and I find that you really need to stress a lot of things in order to do that properly. It's a pain. It is a pain. I'm going to try and do it here for you now, at least with one arm. We'll see how lucky I am, but I don't know how lucky I'm going to be doing this. Bring up the shoulder, bring it in over, slot it in on the side, and then you kind of have to flex this to get it in here, I find, and in it goes. Actually, that was not bad. I am color me shocked. You bring the shoulder up and in over the tab here. Yeah, this one does not want to go as nicely. Push that in on the side. And now again, you have to flex the hand, the little bit of the hand in behind this piece. That's the only way I've seen to do it. I'm sure that that's not accurate. I'm sure you're supposed to be able to like swing the arm up, but I have yet to be able to get that to work. And in. Wow, that was the easiest time I ever had transforming this guy. But in the end, boom, here you have Lockdown in his vehicle mode, which does look splendid. And if you don't think this looks splendid, then you might be just morally wrong in life. I love that we have clear windows on the side. We actually have windows on the side. The original one did not have windows on the side. They were just open. I don't know, the windows were down, I guess. We of course have clear window on the front. Actually, they're like tinted, which is great. He rolls tremendously well, actually. I thought that these pieces that were on his arms would catch up underneath, but it doesn't. He rolls really well, though I've heard some people say he doesn't roll great. He rolls splendid, at least my copy does. He does not have, you will notice on his door on this side, nor on this side, and a Decepticon symbol, because he's not a Decepticon. He shouldn't really have one. He's his own thing, being the bounty hunter Lockdown. The detailing is excellent. We have the little Lamborghini logo up front, just as we should. We have the nice colored in tail lights. Excellent. And then we have to get to his accessory storage, and that's where the whole idea of a robot in disguise really kind of falls apart. Because first we take this and put it on his door. Right there. You know, you're never gonna notice that. Never gonna notice that. But then, if that's not enough, because maybe he could, you know, just show this side when he's driving. But then we get the joy of this on the side. I guess you could, you know, do that. Right? Nobody's ever gonna notice that. It is so inconspicuous, isn't it? And so there you have Lockdown. He was a 7.75. We've done the conversion. Dealing with those shoulders can be a pain, though they weren't for me today. Overall, I think the way the legs and the feet convert is fine. The head flipping back, no problem. The way that you unfurl the backpack is smooth and seamless, and the way it pegs in back here is nice. It's secure. The tolerances are great. But even though it was easy for me today, I can't deny that putting those shoulders in over the I guess front bumper, and then having to kind of flex this little piece back here a bit to really kind of fit the hand in there properly, even though I think, like I said, I think you're supposed to be able to swing the arm up and peg it all in. I just can't get that to work. Maybe you can. I don't know. It's good, but the arms could have been just a little bit better. As such, I'm going to say that his conversion is about a 7.75. Overall, this Lockdown is about a 7.75. It's fine. It's fine. It's pretty good. It most assuredly is not the standout in the Studio Series line. In fact, it's probably one of the weaker ones that I've experienced in the Studio Series line. That's not to say it's bad, so hopefully you kind of don't get a bad taste in your mouth about it, because this alt mode looks fantastic. The robot mode looks fantastic. And you can certainly get some dynamic poses with him. Even in terms of the transformation, when you get used to it, it's not that bad. It's just, you're going to want to be kind of careful with how you handle the arms and the shoulders. All of that being said, though, I also can't overlook the fact that you need to deal with the arms and the shoulders. They're not just smooth and perfect. You need to realize that even when he's in this mode and you start to go back to robot mode, because everything tabs in so securely, it's kind of a challenge to get started with like unpegging stuff for this guy, because it is so secure, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I also can't overlook the kind of articulation limits of the arms and shoulders and his head kind of hitting off of his detailed neck piece, nor can I overlook that he doesn't have his battle mask. He can't do his face gun thing. If none of those things that I mentioned are a big deal to you, I think you're going to love the guy and you'll probably give him easily a 9, 9.5. The fan of me wants to give him a 9.5. But objectively speaking, for things that could have been improved on him that certain people might be looking for, he's about a 7.75. He's going to be wonderful for some people's taste, not for others. That being said, if the only iteration of this guy that you have is the original mold that was used, replace it, man. This one is vastly superior to that. If you are more of an MP collector, I think we all know which version you're going to want to go for. I like him. He's not perfect. I like him. I just really wish he had better weapon storage. Don't you? Now, as everybody knows, man, I've always been hard on movie figures, but I've been impressed with the studio series thus far. In Wave 2, there's a couple of kind of little chinks in the armor that I'm starting to see, and Lockdown is one of them. Yes, the molding looks fantastic. And yes, the head sculpt is excellent. I'm so glad that he has his hook, because Lockdown is one of those characters that has kind of developed a cult following among the fandom, despite not being originally from G1. Now, granted, most people would make the argument, validly I might add, that his animated version is the one that fans know and love the best. But I do kind of dig the way he was characterized in the films. And this embodies that character well. It catches the spirit of Lockdown, so to speak. So I love the hook. I even kind of dig this bladed blaster thing. I don't even know what it is. The two real kind of big disappointments with this guy for me is that he can't do his gun face thing. And I really wish that these very upper shoulder pads could move out a little bit more to give a bigger range of motion to the shoulders. Outside of that, I think it's pretty strong, and I even like how his backpack really kind of compresses nicely on his back. Is he perfect? No. Is he strong? Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good, but he's definitely not the star or the standout of the Studio Series line. Is he one that you should probably add to your collection? Well, if you're into the movie aesthetics, maybe. If you were kind of contented with either the official Lockdown, or if you did something like I did and made a custom and you're contented with that, maybe not. Of course, we all know that there's that third-party MP inspired Peru kill that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. But for the average chug collector like myself, I think that I'll be glad enough to add this bulky little dude, as imperfect as he might be, to my collection. Let me know what you think about Lockdown. Was he a slam dunk for you or not? Anyway, beyond that, I very much appreciate you stopping by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. Please, again, hit the subscribe button. The support is a tremendous help, and I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.